Hello everybody, this is Liz Choate, registered dietitian and director of clinical nutrition here at Jackson Purchase Medical Center, doing another Learning with Liz lesson today. Well, we're in the month of September. Gosh, can you believe it? It's September. I can't. It's this year is just flying by. But September is known as National Cholesterol Education Month. So I thought I would kind of go over with you all like what cholesterol is, the good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, what our numbers should be. And I've done this before, it was a long time ago when I did this the first time, but I thought it would be a good time to kind of review again about what cholesterol is. And there's good things and there's bad things, of course, about with cholesterol. So let's just jump right in there. So cholesterol, it's a fatty substance that our body produces. Our liver produces it. In our body, we've got to have cholesterol because it helps cells to develop. It actually kind of helps our skin be waterproof. So it's very important that we have cholesterol in our diet or in our body. But when we have too much cholesterol, that's actually what can form blockages or plaque. It causes blockages in our arteries and veins, and it can cause blockages in our heart. It can cause blockages like going to our brain and things such as that. So that's when heart attacks could occur. It's when a stroke could occur if a person has blockages like that. So it is important for us all to know what our cholesterol level is, but also what can we do to help that level come down if it needs to come down. Food-wise, we get cholesterol from animal products. So anything that comes from an animal, it's going to have cholesterol in it. So that would be beef, pork, chicken, turkey, fish, milk, cheese, lard. Anything that comes from an animal is going to have cholesterol in that. And then they all have different amounts of cholesterol that are in those types of foods. So if someone's cholesterol level is a little bit elevated, there are certain foods that they might need to limit some. And that would be some of the higher fatty meats, such as like beef and pork, whole milk cheeses, whole milk, butter has cholesterol in it because it comes from an animal. So it would be important for us to try to eat a little bit less of those kinds of foods. Now, if your doctor says, I want to check your cholesterol level, what they're going to do is they're going to do a blood test and take blood out of your arm. And they do, it's called a lipid panel. And so a lipid panel is going to show us what our cholesterol is, what our total cholesterol is, and then it breaks it down between, we have good cholesterol, which is called HDL, or high density lipoprotein. Bad cholesterol is called LDL, or low density lipoprotein. And then we have triglycerides, or another type of fat that is in that cholesterol molecule. So what our cholesterol, our total cholesterol should be, it should be less than 200. The higher it goes, the more risk that a person has of that plaque buildup. HDL, as I said, is a good cholesterol. This is kind of the guys in the white hat is what I always tell people. And our HDL level for women needs to be above 50, and for men needs to be above 40. HDL is good stuff. If somebody has a lab work done and they say, Liz, there's an H beside this HDL, I'm like, hey, that's great. That's the only thing you want to have an H on. So because what HDL does is it actually picks up free-floating plaque and cholesterol and takes it back to the liver instead of going back to where those blockages are. So we want a lot of HDL. Foods that affect HDL are things such as olive oil, canola oil, peanut oil. Those types of fats are very healthy for us to have. Also, another thing that affects HDL, helps it to go up, is exercise. Actually can help it to go up. LDL is the bad cholesterol, or the guys in the black cat. So LDL, as I said, stands for low density lipoprotein. If someone has heart disease, also other risk factors such as if they're a male, if they smoke, if they have diabetes, the American Heart Association recommends that LDL level be 100 or below. Then for people who don't have any risk factors and are actually a female and no diabetes, no heart disease. Actually, we can have our LDL to be around 130 and below. But the lower that number is, the healthier it is for that person. Because what LDL does is it actually picks up their free-floating plaque and actually takes it to where we have blockages. So we want that LDL level to be as low as it possibly can be. Foods that help LDL levels come down are, they're called a monounsaturated fat. So, a few minutes ago I was talking about olive, peanut, and canola oil. They actually can help bring down that LDL level. So we want to make sure we use those types of oils in with cooking. And not use the solid types of foods, or they're called saturated fats, like those hard fats at room temperature, which would be shortening, which would be lard, which would be margarine in a stick form. We want to use margarine in a tub form. Butter, again, butter has two things in it. It has cholesterol and it's a saturated fat. So it's not the best thing in the whole wide world for a person to use butter. If somebody wants to use butter, I say, well, okay, we'll get a butter olive oil mixture, and then that way it cuts back with the amount of saturated fat that's in that food product, and that can help a person still get their butter because they like maybe the flavor of it, but it's going to be a little bit healthier choice for you to choose. And then triglycerides are, I call them a cousin of cholesterol. It's another type of fat that's in that cholesterol module. Triglycerides can lead to things like with blockages and things such as that if our triglyceride level is elevated. The magic number with triglycerides is 150 and below is what we want that number to be. Foods that can make triglyceride levels go up are, again, those higher fatty foods, as well as foods that have a lot of sugar in them, such as cakes and pies and cookies and sweets. So if somebody does have a high triglyceride level, we really need to cut back with those types of foods to help that number come down. So I hope this kind of helps you a little bit to know, well, what should our numbers be? And if you haven't ever had your cholesterol checked before, when you go to the doctor next time, say, hey, can we check my cholesterol and see what it is? Hopefully they've already done that, but it is important for us all to know what those numbers are. We will be attaching a couple of articles to this talk today that came from the American Heart Association. So hopefully it'll help you understand a little bit about what cholesterol is, and then as well as breaking it down into the different parts of cholesterol. If you have any questions about today or have any topics that you would like for us to discuss, please just drop us a little line on here and we'll see what we can do next time. So I hope everyone has a great day and find out what your cholesterol is.